Hello, everyone. The time is here. It's the first episode of Three Eggs Are Better Than One. I am Brad Stanton, along with Matt M. and Brian Haremza. Welcome to Three Eggs Are Better Than One. We've been really excited about doing this. We've been talking about it for like 6 months, and the time is now. So, the way this is going to go is we're going to talk, every single topic we have is going to be named after eggs. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start sunny side up. So, what is sunny side up, Matt?
We're going to be talking about the good news of the week because there's a lot of bad news out there, and sometimes we just want to talk about things that are positive. So I'll go first. Um, let's see. My good news of the week is for the first time in, I don't know, 6 months, I have nothing to do on Saturday. No sports, no running around town with my kid doing 100 million things. No. My real good news is I wanted to have a positive report on a good experience I had this week. I am a big concert goer, and I did go to see David Gilmour at Madison Square Garden, which of course is the world's most famous arena. For those who may not know who that is, he was a member of Pink Floyd, and he's getting up there in age. I think he's 78 now. He's still he's a world-class performer, amazing guitar player, sounded great on vocals. Went with a good friend of mine who I've, known since, growing up together, and we've gone to plenty of concerts together. I wasn't gonna go, I wasn't planning on it. It was kind of expensive, but he kind of talked me into it, and we had a great time. And the garden is amazing. I'm sure this won't be the only time we talk about MSG, but that was a great way to kick off my week because it was a few days ago. And there you have it.
Awesome. So I'm going to go give you my good news of the week now. And this is going to be probably the most I put into this segment that you're going to see. So about in June of 2024, this year, I stopped. I was on a show called The Kickout Crew for over 2 years, and I stopped. And the main reason was is because I had to handle some family things. So a couple of my kids just weren't. We weren't exactly. I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and just 18-year-old, and a couple of them, needed a little bit of guidance. And my youngest was off to college, so none of that had happened yet with her. So, I had to get her into college. She's going to the University of Pittsburgh. That's Lotus. So she is all set now. Since I have been on the Kickout Crew, my son Frank he is now a United States Marine. He's he swore in and he'll leave for boot camp. It looks like in January. So he went from not really knowing what he was going to do to now becoming a United States Marine. Nervous, yes, but excited for him in the same way. And my oldest Kendall, who is now working full time at the company I work for. She's got a big girl job. So I decided because things are in order that it was time to think about, doing some hobbies again. My wife's tired of watching the same three TV shows with me every night. So she said, you got to do something because you want to. So I really want to do this. And I wanted to, get back into the digital world. And I'm really excited to do it with you two guys. So that is my good news of the week. Sunny side up.
Are we allowed to have follow-up questions for Sunny Side Up?
So we
Why
don't
not?
we don't exactly have rules.
There's no rules here. Go
No,
for it.
okay. So, what what distinguishes Marines from other branches of the military? I mean, I don't know too much about the military. Of course, I have the utmost respect for men and women who serve our country. I've always thought of Marines as being like the super army guys, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm not gonna lie and tell you I know everything there is to know. But what I was always told was they were the first in. They wear the red sash. So that's represents blood as far as I know. I'm sure I'm gonna get tore up on here for any Marines that are watching right now. Um, my son is not training for the infantry or anything like that. He does want to have a job there. He's looking at aviation maintenance. Now, just a little side note on how this happened. So what happened was he was actually looking to go into the Air Force, and he was just looking to do reserves. So he's finally got his braces off, and you're not allowed to actually go to boot camp with your braces on, which is something of course, why would we know that? And so he gets them off, and he's calling. he's calling them and saying, I'm ready, and they hadn't called him back. So then he gets a call, and it accidentally picks up the phone, and it's United States Marines. So then he says, Dad, I'm just going to go out of respect for the guy because, he's a nice guy, and I don't want to. I said I would do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the meeting. Okay. Well, 3 hours later, I know he's already getting fitted. He comes home from the meeting after 3 hours and says, I'm going to be a Marine. So accidentally picking up the phone sometimes pays off.
Got.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are the best closers out there. As everybody knows, I'm in the car
Yeah.
business. I wish I could hire 10 of those guys.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, any member of the armed forces is excellent. We thank everybody for their service. I'm just nervous and excited at the same time. Bryant, now it's you. Give me the sunny side up.
Well, the good news for me is just in the line of work I do. I work in sales, and we're lining up. It's contract season, and we just landed 4 new accounts coming over to the Pepsi side for us. So just getting the opportunity to go out and convert some Coke drinkers, which is a lot of fun to do. So that's the good news for me, is just getting the opportunity to have fun and make some more money.
Is it true that you're not allowed to drink a Pepsi on the job?
Well, Pepsi I can drink all the time on
I
the
mean,
job
Coke. I mean, Coke on the
Yeah.
job.
Yes, you actually
No Coke.
some management can be extreme with that, and they will actually fire you if they find Coke cans or bottles in your vehicle
Or
That is
other Coke substances.
or other Coke substances as well. Yes, absolutely. We do. We sadly frown upon that. So,
All right.
so back to you,
Sounds
Brad.
like a good week.
All right. So if anybody watched the Kickout Crew before, I was known to have a couple of rants. Some called it Rantin Stanton. Others called it Bitchin' Brad. Whatever you want to call it. But now we're going to call it Hard Boiled. All right. And of course, I don't go. This is all in fun. This is all in fun. I'm not really angry. Well, I'm a little angry. I'm not really angry. So I have 3 things today. First off, in Levittown, Pennsylvania is where I live. I don't know why we have to have any reason at all to set off fireworks in the neighborhood. Okay. So I get it. The high school football team wins. I get it that the Phillies win. I get it that the Eagles win. I get it that it's New Year's Eve. I get it that it's the 4th of July. I don't get it that it's Halloween. Okay. I don't know what is triggering this neighborhood that we think we have to set off fireworks at Halloween, but we do. And we do it a lot. And yes, I'm that guy. I am that guy that has a dog here that doesn't like fireworks. And listen, I'm going to give you a pass on those other days, but I can't give you a pass on Halloween. Sunny side up. Give me a break. Let's stick with the hard boiled. Second thing is, I watch a lot of cop shows, and it's not even that I want to watch them, but my wife likes them. Why is it that when everybody's interrogating someone, they think they're guilty, and they find out they're not, they're mad? Okay, we're really upset that we wanted to send this innocent man to jail? I cannot believe it. I understand you want to do your job right and you want to do it well, but the anger that comes into them, like, damn it, he's not guilty. Yeah, that's a good thing. You now he's not going to jail for something he didn't do. Every single show, they're pissed off about this. Finally, can we put just an end? Can we put an end to daylight savings? Okay, that extra hour that you get of sleep on a Sunday when you don't need it anyway is not worth it being dark at 4:43 in the afternoon here. Okay, it is not necessary. I understand it's for the farmers, which I don't understand because they can get up whenever the hell they want. They don't have to get up at just because the clocks changes. I mean, what are we talking about? Get up at 3 a.m. Get up at 2 a.m. It's the same time anyway. So more to come on that. That is hard
very,
boiled.
very hard boiled opening. Jeez. I mean, I have some commentary on the daylight saving. First of all, it's actually daylight saving, but everybody says savings with an S.
Appreciate that.
Just we're
Thanks,
never
Eric.
gonna, as a people, we're never gonna overcome that. We've just been saying savings for so long. Another thing is, a couple of years ago, there was talk that they were going to abolish it, the government. But and I haven't looked this up in a while, so I'm going to get the facts wrong. But one of the sides of the government, one of the sides of Congress voted on it, unanimously passed it, and then what happens is it goes to the other branch of Congress, and they're supposed to vote, and then if they pass it, then the president votes. He chooses to pass it or not. But it never actually got in front of the other branch of Congress. Just, I don't know, I guess there's other things going on in the world that are more important for them to deal with, I guess. But anyways, it's sort of sitting there in limbo. I mean, it was passed unanimously by the Senate or whatever it was. So You would assume it's going to pass everywhere if it's passing it's not like it squeaked out 51%, you know?
I went for a run today after work. I left work at 4 o'clock. Okay, took the dogs out when I got home. I almost ran into a deer.
I don't really have deer. I don't really have deer around here.
Oh, we have deer. We have
Lucky.
Yeah.
plenty of deer in the neighborhood.
Yeah, very lucky on that.
So I think we're going to have plenty of time for this. So hatching, what are we watching? That is another thing. So hatching is what are we watching on TV now? Does anybody have anything they're watching they would like to share? Brian, how about you?
Well, currently, one of my and Sue's favorite shows has just come back on for the final season. What We Do in the Shadows, fun show about vampires living in Brooklyn with their familiar Guillermo. It's a fantastic show based on a movie show as well, and it's just kind of a modern twist on it. Very funny to us, very good comedy that we enjoy. And unfortunately for us, it is the final season, but that is currently what we have been binging on right now. So
What channel or streaming network is that on?
that is on FX, is where you can find that on TV, and then Hulu as well for
Sure.
streaming.
Hulu's a big FX. They're a good team.
Yes, they are. They do a lot with that now.
I like that show. I haven't the new season's sitting on my DVR. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but it's definitely a funny show.
Yes.
And I like I like those styles of shows like, The Office or Modern Family where they're like talking to the camera and
Yeah.
stuff.
And that's what makes it that uniqueness of it's kind of that reality show for vampires, but
Yeah.
nobody knows they're vampires but the people filming the show.
Yeah. It's a good show.
Absolutely.
What about you, Brad?
All right, so I get made fun of for this constantly, and I watch a lot. We do. That's something wife and I do. We watch a couple
I
shows.
watch a lot. I mean, it's got its own category on the show. We all watch a lot.
But I'm gonna talk about something I know neither of you are watching, and that is Dancing with the Stars.
There it is.
The latest season is upon us. We're I would say about halfway through, and I'm gonna tell you what I always like it. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's an easy watch. You always root for the athletes a little bit, and then there's always that the star in there that you didn't even know that grows on you. But this year they really did something different, and they had on the woman who was called, her name is Anna Delvey. Now, if you don't know, there is a documentary, Finding Anna, and she is actually a con artist. Okay, and I'm not going to go through her bio, but it is extensive, and was in jail, and she is currently still on house arrest. And so when they advertised her, they actually showed all the dancers, and then they show her with the ankle bracelet on. And listen, if you know anything about Dancing with the Stars, they always have someone on there that's controversial. I mean, they've had on Tanya Harding, stuff like that. And they're usually people that they've been out of the news for a while though, and now it's kind of their comeback, and it's sort of like a good story. But this was a little sudden, a little soon, I would say, because I think we all know the poison of social media at times. Well, she was destroyed on social media, and nobody she has a small cult following for sure. Like my daughter thinks she's great because there's more to her story, obviously, but she was destroyed on there. And then after the first week or the second week, she was off, and the reason for that was because nobody wanted to get behind what they think is a criminal. And she was asked, what did you get out of this? What did you get out of this experience? She said, on air, nothing. So we could go ahead and say this was a big miss. I fully expect Lyle or Eric Menendez to be on, and that'll be as exciting as ever.
Well, they're not just yet, are they?
Well, no, that's why I said next year.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
But I do think they will be out, but that's a story for another day.
It's another episode.
That could be. That could be. I mean, I think there's enough episodes right now, the Menendez brothers. But Matt, what about you? What are you watching?
All right, so I'm gonna talk about one movie and one show. So I just watched Trap, the newest M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes.
It was okay. I mean, I'm definitely not his biggest fan. I can appreciate that seems like he's a very prolific guy and cares about what he's doing and has helped the careers of plenty of people in his films and stuff. But I don't know. Even going all the way back to like The Sixth Sense, to me, it wasn't the mind blowing game changer that it was at the time. The movie was all right. I thought Josh Hartnett was pretty terrible in it. I mean,
How do you really feel?
I don't know if he's thought of as being this great actor. I mean, he was kind of like, um, 20 years ago, he was just kind of thought of as being like, a young, good-looking guy doing these like sex comedies. I mean, the premise was pretty good. Um, I mean, it's a newer movie, so I'm gonna go no spoilers here. Um, the premise was kind of original, and the point of view of the movie, the perspective of the characters was kind of original, but I don't know. I didn't really think there was a great payoff. It was just okay for me. I don't have a rating scale. I don't know, 2 eggs out of 10. No, I don't know. I guess we're out of three. One egg
Four
Yeah.
out
out of a dozen. I mean,
one out of 3 eggs.
I
Um,
got a question for you though. What is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Probably the split personality one. Is it called Split?
Yeah, it is.
Split. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with what's his name? McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Yeah.
It
No, that
is.
was good. I mean, it was a great performance. Um, you know, I what I didn't like about his career is that after his first movie or two, he got identified as oh, well, look out for the twist.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let me
Mm,
watch 90% of the movie, not really caring or believing about what I'm watching because the blanket's going to be pulled out from under me at the last second. It's like
mm.
that's not the right way to go into watching something, I don't think. So
So
probably
those movies
Split.
all take place around the greater Philadelphia area. So it's a big deal around here because I've been to a lot of
Yeah.
the places they have. But I would say my favorite one, and this is not a popular one, was The Village. And I thought that one really
Never
blew
saw
my
it.
mind.
I'm
I
not
blew
sure about
that one was a twist that blew my mind. I was like, no way.
it. I mean, we can talk about that one if you want because that's like 20 years ago.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just you think they're in a time period, a different time period,
Yeah.
and then you come to find out this whole village is a village in today our time period. It's just that they're living in a world that looks like it was 200 years ago,
Mm.
and that I was like, no, I got my hair is saying, ah,
Yeah.
never mind.
You got. Yeah. All right. So the TV show that I love that I'm watching is Shrinking. You guys watch that?
I've just started
Mhm.
episode
Yeah.
the next season.
Yeah. So that's on Apple TV Plus. Jason Segel and Harrison Ford are the biggest names in it. I think it's a comedy. It has, to me, it's got the same vibe as Ted Lasso, which was also on Apple, which is when it wants to be funny, it's really freaking funny. And when it wants to be serious or dramatic, it is and can be about very real things. And when it wants to be heartwarming or charming, it is. Whatever they're going for, they're nailing. Every character on the show is, either funny or entertaining in some way. Um, I'm like desperate to watch it. Like there was already a few episodes out this season, so like every night we've been watching one. Because I'm just, pumped to watch it. I basically laugh at everything that's said on the show. So it's right up my alley.
I agree, and I think Harrison Ford is some of the, he's 80. He's 82 years old,
Yeah.
and he doesn't act that in the
I,
No.
show at
I mean,
all.
I've never really thought of him as being a good actor before. He was um in action stuff. I mean, he's a legendary guy, of course. He played at least two legendary roles with Han Solo and Indiana Jones, but those movies were, blockbuster action movies. They
Yeah,
weren't, Sean Penn putting on the performance of a lifetime, you know.
yeah.
But he's great. I mean, everybody is great in Shrinking.
I like the Jessica Williams in it, and I never knew her before, and she is excellent,
Never
excellent,
knew her before.
excellent.
Never knew her before.
Mm.
She's great in it. The daughter's great in it.
Neighbors.
The neighbors are amazing in it. I mean,
You got Ted McGinley in this. You know what I mean?
everybody's great. It's a
Random.
phenomenal show. Apple overall has very much impressed me.
They spend a lot of money, don't they?
Ew.
Everybody does. Yeah.
That's what's impressive. These are big names on this show.
So that's what's hatching.
All right. We all talked, right?
Yeah.
We went.
Okay. So then we have what's called free range. And this is going to be Matt M's exclusive segment.
Oh no. Is it?
And it is an unseen movie. But why don't you tell everybody else a little more about what that means?
So I didn't realize it was going to be exclusive to me whenever we do it.
Well, maybe just
Today it
exclusive this
can
week.
be.
But this
Right.
rules don't apply today.
Well, as we've just covered, we've all seen plenty of TV shows and movies and stuff, but you can never see everything. And one of my big haven't seen, never have I ever scenes in my life, which other people know about me, is Top Gun. I've never seen Top Gun. If that ever comes up, and sometimes I make it come up, but if it ever comes up, people are usually their mind is blown that I've never seen it. You know, it's a classic 80s action movie with the 80s actors and the 80s music and the 80s action and everything, but I've never seen it. Um, I've probably seen clips of it. I've probably heard people talk about it. I've probably seen references to it because it does have that iconic movie status. And I think hilariously, I have actually seen Top Gun Maverick, the sequel, which came out like 30 years after the fact, which I thought was a phenomenal movie. And just this week, I read that they're trying to develop a third one, which is probably smart because the second one was a huge box office success. But I want free range with I wanted to just kind of try to take a stab at what I thought Top Gun was about based on 30 years of kind of hearing about it. So I know Tom Cruise is in it. I'm pretty sure he's Maverick based on the fact that he was in the second movie. And the other two young pilots were Val Kilmer and Anthony Edwards. I know one of them was Iceman, and I know one of them dies at the end. I know along the way they played volleyball. I know that it might have been a homoerotic version of volleyball. I think that there was a famous cafeteria scene where somebody was singing their heart out to, some female pilot that they were crushing on. There might have been a goose. I think that was one of the names. How am I
Wow.
doing? How many eggs?
Wow. Yeah, there was
Wow.
definitely a goose.
There was Goose. Yep.
He was a big deal.
Is a big
Just a
deal.
little bit of a big deal.
Ah, my
Oh,
God.
Um, I mean, I
I
don't even know I don't know like what they were doing. Like, there's no like war they were fighting. Are they just practicing? I mean, was there a single mission? I don't know. I mean, I think Anthony Edwards must be the one who doesn't make it out alive because
and his name was Goose.
His name was
he
Goose.
was
He
Goose.
was
Okay,
Goose.
he was Goose. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He went on to ER, I think.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Original Revenge of the Nerds guy, too.
And Revenge of the Nerds. Yes.
So that was my free range shot at Top Gun.
How do you do, Bryant? I'm going to let you go ahead and handle
How
this.
many eggs?
Oh my God. Well, you got the names right, which I'll give you credit for. At least we got the names correct. Uh, I just have this question before I give my answer here. Why didn't you watch the first one before going to the second one?
Okay, so I did not go to see the second one. I saw it at my uncle's house, who has a movie theater in his house, which is awesome. And I thought that would be an
Sounds awesome.
appropriate movie to watch at a home theater because of the high action it was bound to be.
Mhm.
I intentionally watched the sequel without watching the original because I wanted to just maintain throughout my life that I'm never going to watch the original. Just like I'm never gonna have a cup of coffee, which is another weird thing. Um, I
It
mean,
is.
I'm never gonna watch it ever, no matter what happens. I'll
As a
watch the
because
third
you
one.
refuse to now?
At this point, I have to keep up the gimmick. Yeah,
You got to live the gimmick now.
Absolute
I gotta live the
ridiculous
gimmick.
nonsense. That is nonsense.
Gotta live the gimmick. I'm sure I could turn on 3 streaming Tubies right now and go watch it. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, you can definitely find it. It's not hard to find.
Yeah.
I don't understand the living the gimmick thing of I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just
just
an
watch
act
the
of
movie.
Because you
It's
knew
an
one
act
day
of
you were gonna be
defiance. It's just an act
There it is. The act of defiance. That's what
an
we're
act of
looking
adult.
for.
I mean, how many we don't, we're adult men in the world. We gotta take care of our responsibilities. We don't get to just act out. This is me acting out.
yeah. You knew you were gonna do a show one day and
I
you're
knew
gonna talk about
This
it.
is it. This was your moment.
This is
gonna
the
be an
show,
egg.
right? Wow. Well, looking forward to this every week for sure.
I'm not doing that every week.
No, I know. I know. All right. So,
So I'm
What's
awarding myself 2 eggs out of 3.
that's
Yeah,
nice of
no,
you.
I
Very,
mean,
very,
you're
very
you're very
nice.
good, very close on a lot of things there. I'll give you that.
So the title of this episode is Jack and Rose Live Happily Ever After. Now, who are Jack and Rose? Well, I would hope that most of you out there listening to this have seen the movie Titanic. So what we've talked about before we were putting the show, while we were putting the show together, is a lot of what if conversations. So we have a lot of ideas out there of what if, and so what we're calling this is down the rabbit hole, and so these are going to be if something went a different way, like a butterfly effect is essentially it. So what if Jack and Rose? I mean, maybe even the boat didn't even sink. It doesn't, or maybe he actually noticed there was extra room on the raft. You know, it could be any situation possible that Jack and Rose leave and live happily ever after. Well, let's talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about everything I think, and then you guys jump in and let me know what you think. So Rose, she lived an upper class lifestyle. Can we agree on that?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. She was only 17 years old. I know she looks older. Okay. And honestly, there's some nudity in the movie. So actually, that's really unacceptable,
Yeah, and
right?
I think she was only, I mean, it's Kate Winslet, right? I think she
Yes.
was only like 19 or 20 when the movie came out, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but I know
Mm.
she was supposed to be 17 in the movie. So
Okay.
let's stick with the characters.
So now I'm already uncomfortable because she's not an adult and she's nude.
Hey, that's not what I was going for here, and I don't even know how this came up. I said it, and it was not written. I just said she was 17, which is obviously a very young person. Now it is 1912, so
Mhm.
it's a little bit of a different time with engagements and stuff like that because she was engaged on this boat to Mr. Hockley, okay, a steel tycoon, if you will.
Oh.
All right, so we all the things she does after she takes the name Dawson, right? And when and then she goes off the boat. And then what she does without Jack is she basically does all the things they talked about, like riding a horse, and like painting, like everything she did that she wanted to do. So she did all that stuff without him. Okay. He wasn't a part of any of that. I also think she had some mental health issues. I mean, she did try to kill herself on the boat. And I think she had a few daddy issues as well. Okay. So we're just going to go with that. I mean, he obviously left them nothing. We know that there was no money left. That's why she was with Hockley. Now, what do we know about Jack? We know he slept under a bridge the night before he was on the Titanic. Great. Okay, great. We also know that he drew pictures, like sketches of prostitutes. Right. We know that he is a very good-looking guy and homeless, which sends up a lot of red flags for me right off the bat. All right. And we also know he's a
Casting issue.
we know he's a gambler because that's how he got the tickets to begin with. So to me, this is a classic case of a vacation crush. Okay. So let's say they get off that boat together. Rose would have been way too motivated to be with a man like Jack. She would not stay with a man like Jack. Jack would have tried to manipulate her. He would have tried to take her into a throuple with some of his prostitutes that he's taking sketches of. I mean, obviously, where he lives is under a bridge. Now, all these things that she achieves without him. He is an underachiever. He is good looking. He can't get anything done. Yeah, he's a very charming guy, but for how long? This is a vacation crush. 3 days, 4 days. This is the love of your life. She's 17 years old. She's not old enough to be in love with Jack. Okay, I mean, she's old enough to be in love. She's not old enough to maybe. She's going to change. She's going to get older. She's going to get mature. He's going to stand under this bridge for the rest of his life. So, so he would have held her back from her dreams. I mean, he had an issue of, his parents had a fire, so he was out on his own. I really think that within 2 weeks of her living under a bridge and slumming it under the bridge and hooking up with prostitutes with Jack, she would have been back with Hockley and her mother in a week and a half, or 2 weeks, like I said, 2 weeks.
All right. So for many years, highest grossing film in history, one of the most well-known soundtrack songs, and really catapulted the career of everybody in the movie. But nah, we're just gonna punt that away after a couple of weeks. We didn't think it was a real. We weren't buying it long term, right? That was
I'm
it.
not. I'm not
It
buying
was
it long term.
it would okay. So maybe this is the title of the episode. Thank God for that iceberg, or else it wouldn't have been a happily ever after.
Went down a dark place. This really did happen.
Well, I wonder about, you ever wonder about that? Like you turn a real story, you write in a fictional nice part of a story, but when the movie came out, there was probably still people alive that were some way affected by the actual tragedy. What did they think? We're making $1 billion over here on a movie from, my uncle dying. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like Pearl Harbor. Um,
Pearl Harbor, sure. Right. Anything I mean, there was movies made of 9/11,
yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, I just don't buy for a minute that this rich girl is going to hang out with this guy that obviously can't get anything done except for maybe a long weekend on a boat.
Yep.
Well, you say he can't get anything done. I want to argue that he got a lot done. He got his way onto the big fancy boat,
Yeah.
right? He was trying to start a new life for himself on the other side. Hooked up with the pretty chick, got her to take her clothes off instantly. This guy he knew how to get things done. He wasn't born on third base. That's all.
Wasn't born on third. Well, but why was he? All right, if this guy is this talented, he's not living under a bridge. He's not sketching pictures of prostitutes for a nickel. He is getting things done before he gets on that boat. He's not 17.
You go can
I don't know that for sure.
We don't know that for sure.
couldn't have
That is
been
not
that
verified.
much older. It'd probably be better if they were both 17, for everybody's sake.
I think he would have held her back.
Both on the same side of the Mason-Dixon line there.
I think he would have held her back, and she wouldn't have been able to handle it. It was real life hits you real hard. It's like everybody's wearing the same clothes, and then because you're wearing uniforms, and then you put on your real clothes, and it's like, maybe I'm not interested.
Okay.
Hmm.
Brian, you haven't said much here. What do you think?
I'd like to jump in with something here
Wild idea.
about something that I don't know your opinions on, obviously, but I'd like to talk about something that I feel is, a key piece to this, which is the boat sinks and they're in the water. And this is the moment where Jack can be the noble hero, or, he can, take the spot. We're right here, the door, as we can see. He's in the water, gives the door to Rose. To me, this is the sign of a man who, well, he knew he didn't have a chance with Rose, so this is his ultimate sacrifice.
I like how you had material prepared for those not watching.
Yes, of course. I have to be prepared for this.
Iconic image of
Rose lying on the door.
on the door that was clearly big enough for more than one person.
But to me, this was the scene of Jack knowing I could have the moment in my life with Rose, but I'm going to sacrifice it because, as Brad kind of said, can he give her what she wants?
This was the only way that he could give her what she wanted.
Yeah.
If it was a foot wider and he survived, they would have had a great 9 days after that, and then just shit after that.
Because
Right?
I point to this as well. What was Jack going back for?
We
The
don't know.
life you didn't know he had? I mean, he got on the boat literally on a gamble in a game of poker. Left everything in London to get on this boat. What did he have? Nothing. But the point is this, to me, is if Rose wanted this life together with him, she could have made room for him on the door.
He could have.
Because as you can see by some examples here,
Oh my God. This is a good video.
as you can see there in the second picture on the bottom underneath here, that they're laying, her head's at one end, his head's, they could have laid on top of each other. As in the third picture there, body heat is cold out there. Obviously, the bottom two pictures are completely ridiculous and not part of this. But I'm looking at this going, you could have made room. There was an opportunity for her to go, I want this life with you, and I could make room for you.
Yeah.
She chose not to because she also knew, what life can you give me, Jack? You could draw pictures of me. That's great. What could that bring me? Because she has a lifestyle that she has created while she's been away that she has to keep. And can Jack do that? Absolutely not. Let's be realistic. And
Man,
to
I'll
prove
tell you, great job.
to prove this even
Yeah.
more, one of the greatest shows of our generation, Mythbusters, even did a thing on this to
Oh,
show that both of them could fit on the door itself. She could have saved Jack. She could have brought him along, and instead, she chose to let him stay in the water because she knew, oh no, this can't happen. We can't be together. And to further hammer this point home, James Cameron himself, the director of the movie, recreated this to show that Jack could live, but then admitted Jack had to die. So when the own director tells you, I could have had him live for a great story, but it made no sense, that should tell you everything.
Bravo. Bravo.
bravo. Exposing movie magic.
And I'm going to end it on this. The real kicker here is the real kick in the you know what is that she marries somebody later and never forgets this 3-day vacation and then goes to heaven and he's there with her. Ah, not the father of her children, not the grandfather of her grandchildren. Jack, I'd rather be frozen in the water, Dawson, because I know this is the best I'm going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Hmm.
So we hope you enjoyed that because that was a lot of fun. Bryant, thanks so much for that.
Yeah, not a problem.
So next on the agenda, we have Eggs Benedict. Now, what could that possibly be about? Well, it's favorite turns. Now, as you know, this is not necessarily a wrestling show, but we are friends from wrestling, and heel turn and face turns are a big part of that. However, heel turn and face turns are in every part of entertainment and in life in general, even in real life. So, Bryant, what do you have for us today as far as Eggs Benedict?
Well, for me, a lot of the fun turns obviously go back to cinema. Goes back to, as you mentioned, our fandom of wrestling. And for me, one of my favorite turns involves my favorite performer, my favorite wrestler, Bret the Hitman Hart. The turn that he and Steve Austin did at WrestleMania 13, where they had the crowd in the palm of their hands. Steve Austin, the heel, comes in, but Bret Hart shows you that I could be just as much of a heel as anybody else. And he turns that crowd, he turns that moment and makes himself the ultimate heel just here in America. He's still the ultimate face everywhere else, but here where it matters for us as our fandom, Bret Hart proved to be the ultimate Benedict, turning on his fan base to become the heel we all needed in 1997 wrestling galore. Brad?
So the interesting part of this turn, or we're sticking with your turn, right? We're not doing all turns. Your turn
Right.
is that it was a what's called a double turn.
Double turn.
Mm-hmm. Double turn.
So Austin came in as the, and let's go with non-wrestling fans, the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart came in as the good guy. I mean, there was a little bit of leading up to that, but and Austin left the good guy and Bret left the bad guy. Whether you are wrestling fans at home or not, this is one of the most amazing things that could happen is that you're actually getting a real emotion from fans live and having fans actually change their mind about who they're rooting for and who they're not. It is one of the best turns, heel turns, face turns, double turns. It is one of the best in history.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's the best. I mean, especially the way that it hit us at the age we were at, or the age I was at.
Yeah, not me. I'm the old man here, everybody.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I remember watching it live, and you know, Austin's bloody. You're rooting for him, and Brett's supposed to be the good guy. And I think an underrated moment is after the match when, Ken Shamrock, special guest referee, and I think that was his first in-ring participation before
Yep.
he was on the roster. Obviously, big, huge, tough guy. He had to force Brett to stop attacking Austin, and kind of, they were puffing their chests at each other, and Brett backed down and walked away. What a beautiful moment to perfectly drive home what they were going for there, because a good guy babyface would have never backed down, but he
No.
was no longer a babyface, and he walked away.
It
Very
is,
good.
And Stone Cold never looked back.
Yeah.
Nope. And it took Stone Cold to the moon from there.
Yeah, and Bret Hart doesn't get maybe enough credit for how good he did because he takes a lot more criticism sometimes than for his character work than most do. So yeah, it was definitely very very well done. Look at you, Bryant. Boy, that's a
Well, we're
out
now
first.
we're gonna have to cancel this segment because we've already done the first with the best. The first one was the best one ever. So,
Oh, don't worry. I have plenty more lined
oh,
up for
okay.
this segment. So
Yeah, I have one written down too, so we're set.
Yeah.
So, the next part of our show is what's called duck eggs. Now, duck eggs are are what's called obscure facts. Okay, so this is something I have a lot of fun with, and I give credit to history facts. It is something I get to my email, and I sift through it, and I read some, and I read all of it, and some of it just really stands out to me. Now, this is nothing of importance normally, but I'm going to go ahead and read you what this duck egg obscure fact is. The 1930s were a landmark time for the candy business. Despite the economic hardships of the Great Depression, uh, chocolate companies flourished, launching popular products that still remain in demand today. Snickers, the top selling candy bar in the US, debuted in 1930 and in 1932. Another well known sweet treat made its first appearance, the Three Musketeers candy bar, or more accurately, candy bars. What? At the time, each 5-cent package contained 3 bars with 3 different flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. The 3 flavors resulted in the candy bar's name, one that had already been made popular or famous by the author Alexandre Dumas, popular in 1844, Adventures of the Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeer bars remained a multi-pack from 1932 until 1945. But like many industries at the time, the candy business was majorly impacted by World War II. In 1942, the government mandated sugar rationing came into effect. When regular production resumed following the war in 1945, Three Musketeers, citing ongoing challenges and costs related to wartime restrictions, was reduced to just one piece, available in just one flavor, chocolate. But despite the low bar count, the name remained the same. I just thought that was very, very interesting. So it used to be 3 bars, and because of the chocolate shortage of the rationing, they went down to 1 bar, but still called it the
Did
Three
did
Musketeers.
not know that.
And to mark the 75th anniversary of the introduction of the candy bar, it is made by Mars, introduced Three Musketeers Mint, and then produced a limited edition Autumn Mini Mix. But they never went back to the vanilla and the strawberry, and I really think that would be a great thing to do.
Hmm. I would check that out.
I I don't know why I thought that was great.
And kind of appropriate. We just passed Halloween. Um, my kid came home with an absurd amount of candy, and I'm always interested in looking through his stuff because aside from the classics that he gets, Three Musketeers, Milky Way, Twix, there's always like offshoots of popular candies. I feel like they're just trying it out. Like he had like Skittles and like 2 other like common variations of Skittles. And then there were also Skittles fruit snacks, Skittles gummies, which were somehow different, and some other Skittles. There was like a giant Skittle. I was like, why aren't these regularly available? Or maybe they are, and I'm just not shopping in the candy section anymore. But why not reintroduce our Three Musketeers right around that Halloween time? People are gonna get it and eat it. You don't have to hope that they're gonna walk by it in the store and try it. It's just gonna show up at their house.
So I bought a Three Musketeers for the show. I ate it.
Oh, you did research and
did your own
development?
research. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I ate it. So the minis did have these flavors of French vanilla, mocha, cappuccino, strawberry, cherry, raspberry, orange, but nothing stuck. You know what I mean? And I think just doing it the original way.
Well, those are terrible flavors.
But what about the 100th anniversary? Can we bring it back?
When is that?
Well, it was 1932.
We're
So
coming up close then.
8
Yeah.
years. I mean, I can wait.
At least 2 of us will make it to there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of them.
This actually reminds me, I actually wrote a letter. Oh, I might have to read this on the show next week if we're doing follow-ups. My favorite candy ever, very specifically, is pink Starburst. Just the pink one. Um, so about 15 years ago, I wrote half joking letter to, I think, who makes him, demanding that they release a pack of just the pink Starburst. I think hilariously now they actually do.
They have all reds.
Yeah, they have
Mhm.
favorites. And there's mini ones, and I think you can buy a bag of all mini pink ones, strawberry, of course. But I don't know if there's, I tell you what, if we get one retweet, I'll read the letter on the air.
What's your least favorite Starburst?
Is red cherry. I don't like cherry.
Oh my gosh, what?
What?
I don't like
That is
cherry.
that's
How?
you're a savage.
Cherry is okay. I've never had a cherry, like an actual cherry. I've never eaten one.
No, don't worry, don't taste
How?
like it.
Yeah, that's totally different. Yeah,
Nothing tastes like the real thing.
yeah,
What are you
exactly.
talking about?
I don't like cherry. I mean, anything cherry makes me think of like childhood medicine, like cough medicine.
I
I
love
don't like
cherry
cherry
Starburst.
flavored anything. It's the worst flavor of anything is cherry.
Oh my gosh, that is such a
Wow.
terrible, terrible thing to say. I love cherry everything. I would prefer all cherry everything all the time. And I
Well,
think strawberry is the worst flavor of the four.
well, that's wrong. I mean,
I I go in order of cherry, and I go lemon, orange, strawberry, and then there's those off flavors like with the all reds. They have the fruit punch. I don't know what the other one is, but it's good too.
sorry, I can't do
I,
cherry. I don't like it.
that just blew my mind right there. I'll be honest with you.
It's
Matt,
a mind-blowing show that we run here.
do
It's
you have
true.
7-Elevens out there? Do you have
Yeah,
Slurpees? What flavor Slurpee do you get?
it's definitely not cherry.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh. So
when's
I
the
get
last
cherry
time I had a
and then I get
Slurpee?
Coke together and I mix it.
When was the last time I had a Slurpee?
I'm gonna have one tomorrow now that I've been talking
I'm,
about it because
I'm
I
gonna
want
have
it right
one.
now. I want it right now. It's open. There we know we're
Even
open.
if there's two flavors there, and one of them is cherry, and the other one's like pina colada, I'm gonna get zero.
Ah, you know what's the worst is when it doesn't work at all because the machine's always down and then it's
Yeah.
just like
Yep.
yeah, that's just so disappointing.
Any sort of cold item dispenser is, so you get it's 50-50 shot. That's
It
gonna
is 50-50. It is definitely not like 70-30. It is like 50-50 that you're going to have a good experience. Sometimes I fill it up and it's disgusting. I just leave it there and leave. And then I have to go wash my hands because I got it all over me. And then what's with the lids? You know,
Yeah.
and then the straws that have the scooper on it. I don't
all
need
right.
that.
Save it for
I need a
hard
real
boiled,
straw.
but
Just
This
give
is
me
a
a real
hard
straw.
boiled segment
this is
starting
a
all
hard
over
boiled.
Oh, but
again
you're going to
here.
get me hot if you don't want to eat cherry. Anything.
Hard boiled reprise.
Well, guys, that's going to be our show today. How'd we do?
I think we maybe 1 to 2 eggs.
I think we're doing all right.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Brian for the to see us off.
But before he sees us off, because we know what next week's topic's going to be, I was thinking maybe I would just mention it a little tiny bit in case
This isn't on
anybody
the outline, but
is
okay.
not on the outline. Um, uh, we are going to watch a movie in between this recording this and recording next episode because we are going to discuss the movie. And if you would like to watch it as well, or maybe you've already seen it, it's called Cosmic Sin. It's from 2021, and it's available for free streaming on Tubi. That's all I'm going to say. We will cover the who's and the whys and the whats next week. But in case you are really big fans of us and would like to be more in the know of the conversation, that's what it's going to be. Cosmic Sin.
All right. Well, I'm very intrigued by this because it's a movie I can admit I've never seen. I know Brad hasn't, and
Or heard of.
more heard of. Yeah. So we look forward to introducing you all to a movie next week. We thank you guys for tuning in on this maiden voyage for us. We're gonna keep doing our thing, keep coming up with good egg stories for you, and we're just gonna keep plugging along. We appreciate the feedback. You can find us anywhere on social media on Facebook, not Facebook. Geez, what am I doing here? On X, I have to call it X. You can find us on YouTube, leave some comments under the video, and tell us what you guys think. What you like, what you don't like. We're happy to hear, and we'll take any feedback you give us. So, on that note, the egg timer's been set, and we'll see you guys next week.